Excelente.
Wow, perfecto. Genial, mira. ¿Quieres que más? Eso.
Otro este.
Más. Eso.
¿Quieres este?
Además, bobo.
¿Quieres otro bombón? Okay, now I zoomed in, so it's better. It's getting darker, so we gotta hurry up. So this video is for the people who want a camper, but don't know what kind of camper they want, or still trying to determine what kind of camper they want. We're gonna go over some few details here. So if you're just, doing occasional weekend trips, smaller, simpler setup might be perfect, but if you're planning on, living in it full time or on extended trips, you'll need something more, with more amenities, more space, and then, of course you have family, pets, or you want to bring people along with you. A lot of times people just go in and buy whatever they want, whether it be small or large, and then it might be too small and you need something bigger, it might be too big, you need something smaller. So number one is determine your camping style. Before you even start looking at campers, you need to be honest about how you actually want to use it. Number two is set a realistic budget. The sticker price is just the beginning. Remember to factor in insurance costs, maintenance, which typically runs about 1 to 2% of the camper's value annually. Storage fees if you don't have a space at home, or increased fuel consumption if you're pulling with a truck like we are here. And then campground fees. Any first timers, always forget about, these kind of costs and, little things, hiccups like, tires or amenities for the vehicle that we'll get into later actually. All right, so number three, know your towing capacity. This is very important for you who have SUVs, trucks, mid-size SUVs or compact trucks, any type of vehicle honestly. Your vehicle has a specific limit on what it can safely tow. Exceeding these just isn't dangerous, it's also illegal. And it could void your insurance, so you don't want that. Whoa, whoa, boo-boo. A ver, he moved the frame. Doink. It's illegal and it could void your insurance. You don't want that, because then, you're not gonna get, covered. And then especially if you want to start like a business towing your camper and renting it out. So your gross vehicle weight rating, tongue weight and payload capacity is actually on your door seal of your truck or your vehicle, and how much it could actually tow. And then you also got to know how much your trailer weighs. You could either go to a dealership if you're shopping there, or it's also on there's a sticker on the vehicle itself to tell you how much it weighs dry, and then how much it weighs, fully loaded with fluids, and then the max capacity on that trailer as well. So yeah, don't trust what anybody else tells you, just go find the numbers by yourself.
So number 4 is you want to determine if you're gonna buy new versus used. Here's where it can potentially save you thousands. New campers typically close 20 to 30% or lose 20 to 30% of their value in their first year alone. Buying one that's 1 to 2 years old can get you nearly new camper at a significant discount. That said, older models might need more repairs and lack modern features, so weigh those factors carefully.
So yeah, with the new and used, just go shop anywhere else but the dealers, unless you absolutely need the one that the dealer has and it's the same spec and they're giving you a good deal on it. Go look at them, have them run it through with you, like how the features are, what upgrades you can do in the future, or you can do before taking it home. So you could definitely do that there. But yeah, if you buy new and then next year you're trying to sell it, just know you're not going to be happy if you're trying to sell it. With the used, I would just kind of recommend just making sure, doing some research, because not every single camper is built the way you think it is. I mean, some of them have their flaws, or all of them have their flaws, but you just got to find out which one is the best fit for you and your lifestyle, or the way you want to use it.
If you are thinking of buying a used RV, I suggest looking through Facebook. I suggest looking at Facebook Marketplace. They have a lot of great RVs that could be close by to where you live, and you can always go and look at them yourself, and just make sure you check the roof and check the underbelly of the RV.
Number 5 is kind of what she's going on. Make sure you inspect the vehicle for any leaks, damage. If you are able to get the VIN off the used seller or private seller, plug it in, pay the few bucks, the $5 to $10 to look at the Carfax or trailer fax if you want, just to make sure it's not like a titled or a branded title or anything like that. Just make sure it's a clean title, unless if you're okay with buying something with a bad Carfax. But yes, inspection. So water damage is the number one killer of campers, so look for soft spots in the walls and the ceilings, and be alert of musty smells. Mildew can grow anywhere with moisture. Check all the electrical systems, plumbing, and appliances that work properly, and don't forget the tires. RV tires age out before they wear out, even if they look fine. So just keep that in mind, and please protect yourselves and make the right purchase. So while she's doing that, I'm gonna read number 6. So consider seasonality. When will you be camping? This affects the type of camper that you're actually looking for. So like whether it be hot, cold, or all around. If you're planning to camp year round in the cold weather, you'll need a 4-season camper. So you're gonna see a sticker or them branded as a 4-season or all year round ready camper. The 4-season camper with better insulation and heating systems, these cost more, but will keep you comfortable throughout those seasons. From my experience with the camper that we have, it's been great, honestly. AC works and insulation is awesome, and it has the heating, it's all electrical, and it could be propane. So but yeah, look for something like that if you're planning on doing something all year round. But if you're not, then maybe you could just get a cheaper one, save yourself a few extra bucks, a few thousands if you would, if you're okay with that. But just know, if you're trying to camp in the winter, be aware you're going to be freaking cold. Number 7, try before you buy. This is the advice I wish someone would have given me, but honestly, the camper that we have has been awesome lately. I actually enjoy it. I did some research on it, so I'm very happy with that purchase. We bought it off of Facebook Marketplace. Rent a smaller model for a weekend to see if it truly fits your needs, and then vice versa. Rent something bigger and then see if you actually need that bigger camper for your lifestyle or what you need it for. Yeah, a lot of people are surprised to discover that their dream camper feels too cramped or maybe too large. So then you kind of have buyer's remorse after your first trip with it, and then same thing going back to the towing capacity. It might be too heavy, or maybe it's too light, but honestly, being too light is better than being too heavy. This small investment could save you a whole bunch of money and time and aggravation, honestly. So maybe if you're trying to buy it from a private seller, ask them, be like, hey, can I rent this out from you for a few $100, and then if you want it, just deduct that from the final purchase price. Work like that. Number 8 is more like if you're trying to buy a camper from a dealership. Research dealerships and manufacturers. Not all campers or dealers are created equal. Look for reputable dealers with solid service departments, because you will need some service at some point. Thankfully, we've been able to do the service ourselves. If you're willing to learn a little bit and get your hands dirty, definitely, but still look into their reviews and their service department. You will need it if you do not have the time, or if you don't want to get your hands dirty, or you just don't want to mess it up more. Research manufacturer warranty terms, and more importantly, how to actually honor those warranties. Online forums are gold mines for this kind of real user information. I use YouTube and I use Reddit a lot. Those are two of the ones that I use a lot. And I talk to people around campgrounds to see what kind of advice they give to us. Number 9 is have a storage plan. Where will your camper live when you're not, adventuring in it? Check if your HOA has restrictions on parking the RVs or trailers at your house, whether it be in the driveway or right there on the side of the street. But find out first before you make the purchase, or parking it there. Research local ordinance too. Many cities limit how long you can park the RV in your driveway. If you need to rent a storage, factor that cost into your budget from the beginning. So if your camper costs $12,000, it's going to cost you $3,000 for the season every single year. Just keep that in mind. Just add that up. Number 10, learn basic maintenance. Being able to handle minor issues yourself will save you money and prevent ruined trips. Familiarize yourself with your camper system before your first trip. Know how to check and maintenance the battery, how the water system works, and basic troubleshooting for common issues. Trust me, you don't want to learn these things at the campsite with no call service. So it kind of happened to us. I'm not gonna lie to you. Water pump was leaking. We thought we had fixed it, and then we had to drive up there and try to fix it and mitigate the problem. But long story short, we got it fixed. We just need a little bit more time. I'm gonna just go off a list of common first-time buyer mistakes here. I'm gonna share some painful lessons so you don't have to learn them the hard way. Buying too large, bigger isn't always better, and it limits where you can go. Ignoring weight considerations, a dangerous and potentially expensive mistake. Skipping the inspection. Always get a professional inspection for used campers unless you feel comfortable enough that and how to look for these kind of flaws. Or forgetting about hidden costs, insurance, maintenance, storage, all that good stuff. They do add up quickly and it could get very expensive really fast. So hidden costs like insurance, it's not really hidden. That's kind of like your due diligence, trying to figure out how much things are going to cost. But here's a reminder, figure out how much insurance is going to cost you, and how much storage is going to cost you. You know what I mean? So next thing is, I never really driven these trailers or whatever the heck, towing anything. But I'm not gonna lie, I think I'm doing a pretty good job towing the trailer behind you, because you got to make those turns, you got to plan it ahead. Also backing up, parking, you got to learn, you got to practice. Because backing up and towing and people, you got to do that. See, baby.
I just want to add to buying too large is also very important, because some campsites are so small and cramped that it's going to be very difficult for you to back into your space or your lot. So just keep that in mind when buying your RV, especially if you're a newbie. I think towing a much smaller RV is a lot easier getting around. But I mean, if you like that having a lot of space, then definitely practice a lot driving first before you head out.
Yes, it will save you a lot of money and it will save you a lot of accidents. But yeah, anyways, this is gonna be the end of it. Buying a camper is a big decision, but it can lead to amazing adventures, memories with you and your family, or friends, or just by yourself too if you want to go out there, be a nomad. Take your time, do your research, and most importantly, be realistic about your needs and your budget, because you don't want to cut yourself too tight. You don't want to run out of money and not be able to do any adventures with your vehicle or your trailer because you have no money to go anywhere or put gas. So to the people out there who do have campers or trailers or have been doing this for a long time, longer, maybe even if you've done it for a year, give us your tips. Have you bought a camper before? Drop your best tips in the comments. And if you think about taking the plunge, let me know what kind of camper you're considering. And then don't forget to like and subscribe, as we are going to be doing more of these videos, and we'll share some more details and some other real life issues we've had with it, and some awesome memories as well. But that's pretty much it. Thank you. Bye.